All right, what is going on, guys? Joey Suggs here. Welcome to today's video. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about creatine. More specifically, should you be taking creatine when you're on a cut or you're trying to lose weight? Short answer, yeah. Long answer, well, let's get into it. Now, before I get into the video, I want to cover one topic first, and that is the topic of you pressing that beautiful, ravishing like button down below. Pressing that small, insignificant like button really does help the channel grow. It gets this video out to more people, and it lets YouTube know that you are enjoying my content. So be a good young lady or young man and smash that like button. All right, so to get a full understanding of whether we should be taking creatine when we're on a cut or trying to lose weight, we need to get down a couple main topics. First one being, what does creatine typically do and how can it apply to a cutting diet? Which type of creatine is going to be best for cutting? How much, how often, and when to be taking creatine? And then final verdict, final thoughts on whether or not we should be taking creatine on a cutting diet or a weight loss diet. All right, so to understand if creatine is going to help on our fat loss journey or on our cutting diet, let's figure out what exactly creatine does. So I will start out by saying this: creatine is probably the most studied and well-researched supplement in the fitness industry. It's been around for quite some time, so people have gotten a really good idea of exactly what it does and does not do. So it's marketed as being a mass gainer or a strength enhancer. And it does do this. It does a very good job of doing this. And the way it does it is it's putting water into your muscles, therefore filling up your muscles with water, letting you exert more energy and recover quicker. Now, there are some slight side effects of creatine. Mostly you'll see like kind of puffier around the jawline or a little more water under the skin. For some people, it causes some stomach pain, discomfort, and also some bloating. But that can be mitigated and solved through various things, which we'll get into a little later on. So now we have a better idea of what creatine is, what it does. Let's see how we can apply this to a cutting or fat loss diet. I mean, first thought, putting water into your body and becoming more bloated, puffy, having more water retention doesn't sound like a good idea for cutting. You're probably going to gain a little bit of weight. It'll all be water weight, but either way, people don't like seeing the scale going up whenever they're trying to lose fat. But you have to realize it's all going to be water weight, and over time and as you take this and with different types of creatine, you're going to see less water retention. And the puffiness that some people get, it's mostly noticeable in lean people. So really, if you're starting a cutting diet or a fat loss diet or whatever, you're gonna be relatively fat or have more body fat. So you're not gonna notice the real chiseled jawline or whether it's puffy or not if you're taking creatine. So it shouldn't be a huge problem for people if they're just starting their cut. Now, speaking of cutting, you wanna be taking the right type of creatine while you're on a cut. There's probably about 6 or 7, there might even be more types of creatine out there. I'm just going to focus on the main 2 and the most studied 2, the most effective 2, and that is creatine monohydrate. Sometimes it can be micronized, and creatine HCl, which is just creatine bonded with hydrochloride. So creatine monohydrate is by far the cheapest. It's been around the longest. It's been the most studied. It's had plenty of studies done to show that it is extremely effective and is not harmful for the body. You'll also see this as micronized creatine, which just means that it's broken down into smaller pieces, which will help it absorb better in water and theoretically help it absorb better in your body. There's not a whole lot of research or studies that show that this is super effective, but it is an extra added benefit that it absorbs in water better. Now, there are a couple of disadvantages when it comes to creatine monohydrate. The main one being that your body needs about 5 grams of it per day. And that's about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons, but that still is a lot for your body to digest and your stomach to digest. And that's the main reason that causes the bloating or the stomach discomfort whenever you take creatine monohydrate. And having to digest all that creatine creates a byproduct called creatinine, which can be harmful to the kidneys if there's too much of it building up. Now, creatine HCl was designed to alleviate some of the problems that people were dealing with creatine monohydrate. All it is creatine, but it's bonded with a hydrochloride molecule to bring up the acidity of the overall powder and therefore making it easier for your stomach to digest. So with that, you're getting a smaller dose with better absorption. Compared to the 5 grams of creatine that you would take if it was monohydrate, you'd only have to take 1.5 grams of creatine hydrochloride. And because you're getting better absorption and you're taking a smaller dose, there's gonna be less bloating. You're gonna have less bloating. You're gonna get less of the puffiness and water retention. You're gonna get less of that creatinine, and it's gonna absorb better in water, and it's gonna absorb better throughout your body. And all the studies on creatine HCl and creatine monohydrate have seen the same effectiveness in muscle size, muscle growth, things of this nature that creatine is known for. So creatine HCl seems like the better choice. There are a couple disadvantages to it. One being, like I said, it's not quite as studied. It hasn't been around quite as long as creatine monohydrate, but here in the past probably 5 to 10 years, they've been doing quite a bit of research on it, and it seems to be working very well. It also is slightly more expensive, and I say slightly because it's really not that much more expensive. I'm gonna link 2 types of creatine, just like 2 bulk supplements creatines that I use down below, and you can kind of judge for yourself. I think it's like a $2 difference, but you get more. I don't know. It kind of seems like it's cheaper to me, but I'll have those linked down below for you guys to check out. So for a cutting diet, you're gonna wanna stick with the creatine HCl in my opinion, because you're gonna get less of that water retention, less of the bloating. And if you're someone who has the stomach pain associated with creatine, it's gonna help out with that too. All right, so we've covered what creatine does. We've covered how it applies to a cutting diet. We've covered what the best type of creatine to be on a cut. Let's talk about when and how much creatine to take. We kind of already covered this a little bit, and it's pretty simple. If you're going to be taking creatine monohydrate, you should be taking 5 grams a day. If you're going to take the creatine HCl, take about 1.5 grams a day. There's no need to cycle creatine. I know that people go back and forth on this. Studies shown that your body will still produce the natural amount of creatine that it does, which really isn't that much anyways. So cycling on and off isn't necessary. There's no need for loading creatine. A lot of people do 10 grams for the first 5 days and then cut it back to 5 grams a day or whatever. No need for that. Just give your body the time to adjust. And with the creatine HCl, it's going to absorb faster anyway, so you're going to get that within a couple days. And as far as time to take it or how often to take it, just 1 serving a day is all you need. Doesn't really matter when, as long as you're taking it every single day. So pretty simple, straight to the point on when and how much to take. All right, so final verdict. Should you be taking creatine on a cutting diet or a fat loss diet? Yes, absolutely. Creatine is proven to help you build muscle. And if you're building muscle, muscle is good at burning fat. So you're gonna be burning fat, and if you're bigger, you're gonna look bigger and your muscles are gonna protrude through the fat anyways. So either way, it's kind of a win-win if you're taking creatine. Like I said though, if you wanna get the best results out of creatine, I would recommend either doing the creatine micronized monohydrate or the creatine HCl. In my personal opinion, I've been taking both kind of on and off. I've seen better results with the creatine HCl with less puffiness, water retention under the skin. And that's just personal preference, but from everything I've seen from studies and stuff as well, it seems to be the case for most people. So if you're just getting started, definitely try out creatine, give it a shot. Let me know your results down below. And I appreciate you guys watching the channel. I hope you guys learned something today. If you did, do me a huge favor, press thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel for more videos. I'm dropping videos every week. We're learning things together. We're growing together. We're getting stronger together. All you can really ask for, right? And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.